Hello everybody, it's Dr. V. I'm back with your reading this week on the karmic situation. So I wanted to say thank you first off to everybody who's liked, subscribed, commented, shared. You guys are just awesome. Thank you so much for being here and for letting me be a part of your journey. I also wanted to say thank you to everybody who has sent in energy exchange donations, everybody who sent gifts. You guys are awesome. And those of you who have purchased private readings, all the information on how to do that is in the description box below. So let's just jump right in. Spirit, please use me as a clear channel for communication. May the messages that come through be in the highest good of all those concerned. And draw a sacred circle around this space, setting my ego to the outside, calling upon my ancestors, guides, higher wisdom, ascended masters, divine love, and source energy to protect this space, to guide these messages, that they might serve the collective, the good of all. So let's see what we've got going on this week. So when I say the karmic situation, just to be clear, sometimes I go back and use like karmic situation and karmic partner, and it doesn't have to necessarily be somebody that your divine counterpart is in a romantic relationship with. Karmic partners can be bosses, they can be romance partners, it can be children, it can be literally anybody with whom they have karma to work out. So use that as it applies. So let's just go ahead and look. I really just want to see what is going on right now. What is the current energies of the karmic situation? So we've got the Seven of Cups, the Five of Wands, and the King of Pentacles. So, and this is the Spellcaster Tarot, by the way. This is the deck that I'm using today. It's early here, so I'm still drinking coffee. If you guys hear me taking a sip, just bear with me. So we've got the Seven of Cups, we've got choices. There are choices that need to be made. There are choices that are being made right now. This is a lot of options. So it's like, do I stay? Do I go? Do I move on? Do I do this? Literally just so many choices that are presenting themselves right now that it could be just overwhelming. When we have the Seven of Cups is a card, and any type of decision, okay? Any type of decision that comes, that we have to make. Sometimes if there are too many options, it becomes difficult to know which choice to make. This is also a card of fantasy. Somebody in this connection could be looking at this through like rose-colored glasses, looking at the choices and seeing things not as they actually are, but through a certain type of illusion, like a romanticized version. And I see that a lot actually in the twin flame community, as a lot of people really tend to look at things and try to overly romanticize the situation or the connections. And so it could be that energy is playing out in this karmic situation right now as well. That somebody is trying to look at things through a romanticized lens. And again, I'm not saying romantic. When I say romanticized, I mean like through the fantasy, like that this job is going to be perfect. You'll see people who will do that with job opportunities where they're like, this job is going to be amazing. It's everything I've always wanted, which is not really a realistic view of things. So it feels like right now that there are choices that are being presented in this karmic situation that are not based in reality. They could be based in fantasy and illusion, not really looking at things realistically. Okay, that's really, it's like, that's the energy, is that there's still this energy of not looking at things realistically. This idea of, if I just continue to do X, Y, and Z, then things are going to be perfect. And we got the Five of Wands. If you look at that, this is a card of, I mean, it looks like they're playing, you know, in the Latinx culture, we do piñatas, right? Where it's like you hang it up and it's filled with candy. It looks like they're doing piñatas, but with fucking bumblebees or something. I don't know. It doesn't look like good decisions are being made there, guys. Just saying. But this is conflict. It's jealousy, competition, struggles. You know, it's could be arguments, strife. It could even be like literally like petty arguments, just literally like arguing over like toilet paper, which way the toilet paper rolls, or somebody leaving their socks on the floor, which, you know, I get after a long period of time that shit can be annoying. But at the end of the day, it's like so petty. I mean, when I was doing marriage counseling, I shit you not, I'd see people, I think I've said shit like 5 times in this reading. So I don't know, maybe I've just got, anyway, I'd have people literally come in for marriage counseling, and it would be like they would be arguing over like the smallest things, little things that they would allow to become huge things and would destroy what was had the potential to be a great relationship. And so it feels like that's what's happening here, is that there's just petty shit happening. There's arguments about little things. It just feels like a lot of conflict. It's not a lot of peace. There's just conflict, pettiness. That if it's not a romantic relationship, if it's like a job or a boss, it's like petty office conflict, or well, so and so did this and so did that, really silly kind of small stuff. But there's gameplay and there's games being played here. There's games. It feels like a power struggle, some kind of wrestling for control kind of energy. And then we have got the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is really a positive energy. Any kind of king can be a strong, stable force. So this is really about abundance and wealth and feeling like there's prosperity and some practicality and feeling successful at home and business. So it's interesting because we've got some really conflictual energies here that are happening. It's like on the one hand we have all this conflict and strife, and we got all of this illusion and fantasy. And then we have the King of Pentacles, which is about stability. But the reality is that what I'm getting from this is more of an energy of the King of Pentacles can be stubborn. This is somebody in the material world who is has this sense of stubbornness, which in many ways can be good, because it can provide an aura of stability, and it can provide, that you don't necessarily want someone who's going to be thrown around by the tossing of the waves. This is also somebody who can be a little bit just stubborn, I don't necessarily want to say obtuse, but kind of in that way of being not willing to necessarily see things in other ways. Okay, so that's kind of the energy that I'm getting. That it's almost like an air of stubbornness. That it's like maybe this is all fantasy. Maybe none of this is based in reality. Maybe there's a whole bunch of conflict, but I'm stubborn. I'm going to stick this thing through. I'm not just going to give up that easily. That's kind of the overall energy that I'm getting here. Is just this sense of people who just want to what's this saying? Grin and bear it. Yeah, grinning and bearing it is the energy that I'm getting right now. So what is the divine counterpart bringing to the situation right now? We've got the Wheel of Fortune. Four of Swords in reverse, Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and the Hierophant. Interesting. So the Wheel of Fortune is, you spin the wheel, you get what you get, right? Like I tell my kids, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. But this is an energy of the divine counterpart in this karmic situation is has spun the wheel, and it maybe, didn't turn. They went, what is that? Bankrupt on the Wheel of Fortune game, where it's a zero. They lose all their money. They lose everything. It's like they have, I don't, if you ever watch that game, it's like that thing where you spin and you've got all you want a trip to Paris, you want a car, and then you land on freaking bankrupt and they take everything away. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of brutal. But that's literally what it feels like right now, that the divine counterpart is feeling like they spun the Wheel of Fortune, they landed on bankrupt, and they're like, well, damn, now what? And it's also the Wheel of Fortune can also be really holding on to a cycle and not letting a cycle come to an end, because again, we're talking about that stubborn energy, that stubbornness of I'm just going to keep holding on even though the situation is not working out. So it could be that they really just are experiencing some kind of unexpected challenge, some kind of obstacles have shown themselves. They feel like in order to be successful, they're just going to have to keep persevering. But it really feels like this is based on, honestly, what I'm getting from this, the feeling is that it's not so much that it was bad fortune as it was bad choices. There's this quote that I saw a while back that was it's funny, but it's true. And it's life is hard, but it's harder if you make bad choices. And it's literally I feel like this is an energy of somebody who's been making some not so great choices, and now they're in this space of dealing with the consequences. And we've got the Four of Swords in reverse, which if you look at this, the person lying on the ground in the snow with swords. I don't know about you, but that does not sound like anything appealing or inviting at all. And this is, of course, right after the card, the Three of Swords, which is a card of significant heartbreak. So this Four of Swords is saying to me in reverse, it's like there has been some kind of heartbreak, some kind of experience, challenging betrayal, some kind of experience that the counterpart, your divine counterpart, has had, and it kind of put them into this mode of like almost like hermit mode or like retreat mode, where they just went with they kind of went into isolation, had to do some healing. Now it's come in reverse. It's saying that they're starting to come out of it. They're starting to come out of that energy, and they're starting to move into kind of coming back to life. So with this card, it's like whatever misfortune, whatever thing they had to deal with based on their bad choices or the spinning of the fate wheel that didn't turn in their favor, it's like they went into like hermit mode, recovery, and now they're coming out of it. They're starting to move to a space where they feel like they can come out. I'm going to take a sip really quick. And so it feels like this energy is kind of starting to move through. And then we have the Hierophant, which is this card of, convention. It's a card of people, it's rule following, it's doing what's expected. It's this energy of following like society's expectations, religious expectations. It's like institutional kinds of this was the card of what we would consider like really following tradition. This is a traditional kind of energy. It's like, but these are people who put their expectations and those limitations and those societal rules and whatnot on people around them. These are the people who are like, wanting to convert you to their religion, or there is one way and it's the only way, and they're not really open to other opportunities and other ways of saying things. This is, you can probably hear my dogs knocking over shit in the background. This could be about like upholding power structures, really trying to be within the bounds of what we would expect out of like our normal citizen societal expectations. So I'm getting this energy of just conformity right now, that this is an energy of somebody who's trying to conform. It could be like they did, something happened, it caused a lot of pain, it caused a lot of upheaval. They went into recovery mode, and now they're trying to like be a good girl, be a good boy, follow the rules. They tried to do something outside of the realm of what is expected of them. It didn't go well, didn't turn out well. Now they're trying to just, play by the rules. So what is the karmic partner bringing in? Got the Five of Swords in reverse, the Page of Pentacles in reverse, and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Wow. So very interesting, not so great energy there either. The Five of Swords is swords are thoughts, and it can be like mental. It's really like thoughts, air, mental kind of energy. So it's interesting that we've got the Four of Swords with the divine counterpart, and then we have the karmic person bringing in the Five of Swords, which is someone who's continuing to cause strife. Someone who's continuing to, it's like somebody, like you look at this person has already given up. They're like no longer fighting. They're not in the space of strife. This is a person who just, in the upright, is just someone who wants to continue the fight. In the reverse, it's somebody who's feeling defeated. Okay, so the karmic partner, whatever energy, if they're a romantic partner, is just feeling defeated. It's feeling like this has been such a struggle for such a long time. Like maybe it's time to just give up. Maybe it's time to move beyond the expectations, what's expected of me, and follow my own heart, because what I've been doing is just not freaking working. It just hasn't been working. It feels like this is somebody who is working toward improving their own self-worth and their own self-expectations. Like it's like again, we go with this, I'm talking about this energy of people conforming and trying to do the right thing, and I'm like right with finger quotes, trying to do the right thing, trying to persevere, and then finally reaching a point where it's like, how much of myself do I have to give up in order for this situation to work out, and kind of reaching the point where they're thinking about whether they need to do something different. So then we have the Page of Pentacles, which is kind of that apprentice kind of energy, right? Somebody who's trying to learn something. It's someone who's trying to get a new skill. It's definitely someone who is excuse me. The Page card is a card of somebody who's like eager, wanting to learn. It's the intern on the first day of the job that's like super excited to be there, ready to just like, give me anything. I'm just ready to learn, right? That intern, I don't know if you've ever been around interns, but it's really cute. Like the first few days, they're super excited. And then like by a month or two in, they're like, God, this is exhausting. It's like too much. But the Page of Pentacles in reverse is like somebody who is definitely in opposition. So these two cards both suggest somebody who's in opposition to this person. So they're on the same page right now. They're not on the same team. There's definitely oppositional energies. This is somebody who is really trying to make, again, this is a card of somebody who's trying to take the time to reevaluate the goals and the path and the decisions that they've been making, and to ensure that they are aligning with their heart, their mind, because it feels like they've been out of alignment. It's like they've been doing what they thought they were supposed to do. They've been pursuing what they felt was the right thing, and now they're questioning, is this really even in my best interest anymore, or do I need to look at a different path? And then when we look at the Ace of Pentacles, this is in the upright. This is a card about strengthening bonds, building a solid foundation, new beginnings in the material world. In the reverse, it's financial hardship. It's continual financial difficulties or material difficulties. And someone who's like really feeling like, I need more stability. I need more, my sense of security is shaken. It's not feeling solid. Somebody who may be really struggling with like ongoing financial challenges, where it's like no matter what, I can't seem to get ahead. This is definitely talking about unwise choices and something that feels like a poor foundation. So it's really, with all of these reverse cards, it just feels like it continues to be a lot of strife and a lot of challenges and negativity in this connection, which it's like, duh, of course there is, because that's what karma does. Karma makes things difficult. So karma doesn't make things difficult. Working through karma makes relationships and situations challenging, because that's exactly what it's supposed to do, to help you transform your life. So I want to look at what's ahead for this situation. I've got the Ten of Wands in reverse, the Knight of Swords, and the Two of Swords in reverse. So the Ten of Wands, it's a card of, if you look at it, it's like this dude is walking with all these wands in front of his face on a path, about to fall and bust his face. It's just not being very burdened. The Ten of Wands is a card of burden. And in reverse, it's a card of being like releasing the burden. Or it can be about releasing the burden. It feels like with this, so it's like this. And this, when the first message that came through is that it's like someone's feeling like it's time to like let the burden down. It's time to look and be like, okay, so this clearly is not a good strategy. What if I just drop all of this and find a different way of going about this? But it could also be somebody that's just being, again, stubborn and obtuse and not willing to let the burden down. Being like, well, I've gotten this far. I've done this much. I'm just going to keep going. It could even be like that, they're just, because they can't see what's going on in front of them. So there could be some blockages that continue to happen. But what it also could suggest is, again, this, like someone who just finally reaches their breaking point. Like can you imagine trying to walk a long distance carrying that load? And so it feels like there is definitely the possibility of somebody just finally reaching the point where it's like, I just can't handle this anymore, and I need to like drop it and look at things differently, because this just isn't working. And so we've got the Knight of Swords, which is somebody who is kind of like someone who's courageous, like brave. The word Braveheart just came to mind, like William Wallace, right? Somebody who's courageous, someone who's brave, someone who's willing to follow their truth and pursue what is honest, and then progresses quickly toward their goal. So it almost feels like once there's or both people decide to let this burden down, to quit being stubborn, and to just be like, okay, this is what the current strategy is not working. There's something else that needs to happen. And then there will be a lot of progress that will be made really somebody going after what they want, not hesitating, not being, not kind of just waiting around anymore, just really taking the space of needing to, recognizing that there needs to be some movement. Something needs to shift. That I'm getting that message that it's like this point of exhaustion that people reach, that's literally like, I don't know, man, but something's got to change. Something's got to give, because this shit is not working anymore. So again, it could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be somebody that's working out a karmic situation, like in an employment setting, where it's just like reaching that point where you're like, this is not working, I need to do something different. And once that decision is made to release the burden, then there will be progress made. It's like, then those decisions, and once you make a choice to do something, Brazilian author Paulo Coelho, I don't know how to say his last name, in the book The Alchemist, says, when you make a decision, all the universe lines up to support you. And so that's what feels like will happen, is that somebody's going to try, make a decision to drop this burden, to try and approach things differently. Some progress will be made. And in that, there will be some new information that's coming to light. There's going to be, something's going to be illuminated, and somebody will, some kind of revelation, some kind of, like, again, like the aha moment, something will, it feels like something's going to happen. Look, once they drop this, it's like they're going to be able to see things a little bit more clearly, which is going to lead to this energy of finally getting unstuck from the decision, being in that Two of Swords, not being able to make a choice, into making decisions. Kind of finally moving out of that energy of being stuck and moving into something more really ready to make a decision, really ready to do something different, is what I'm getting. So that's the overall picture. Now I'm going to move this aside, and we're going to look a little bit closer, because I felt this was important to look through. So one of the things, the first thing I want to look at is, what is the soul lesson that they're working through right now? What is the soul lesson that's being learned? And I'm using the soul lesson cards by Sonia Choquette, I think is her name. So I'm just going to pull one card for what is the divine counterpart learning, and what is the karmic partner learning, or karmic situation. Karmic counterpart? Karmic, I don't know. All right, let's see. The divine counterpart is learning to refine their attention, and the karmic partner is learning to bust out of their cocoon. So the divine counterpart is learning how to, this is a process of intention setting and learning how to, how to grow, and doing so by paying attention to what's going on. I get that this could be an energy of a person who tends to be like, God, I wish I could remember this movie, but it's like a bunch of dogs, and they're like, every time they'd be like, be in the middle of something, and then a squirrel would come, and they'd be like, squirrel, and they'd be off and running. And it's like, that is almost the attention, the situation with the divine counterpart at this point, is that they don't have the ability at this point, or they're learning, the soul lesson that they're learning is how to focus on something, how not to be distracted by everything else, that they need, finding their like soul purpose, finding that thing on the inside that gives them their passion, that drive on the inside, so that they can move toward that. Because a lot of what is happening right now with this divine counterpart is that they don't believe in their ability to have their dreams. It's like there's a lot of limiting beliefs and limiting behaviors that are taking place, like where they limit their own success, they limit their own potential, because deep down they don't believe that they can actually have what they think they dream, what they want. And so it's like Spirit is using this situation to help them to raise their vibration to a higher level, where it's like, if you're focusing on, doom and gloom, you're going to create doom and gloom. If you focus on abundance, you're going to have abundance. And so they're really learning how to be honest with themselves and how to get clear about the way like that they're co-creating their own life by their thoughts and their intentions and their attitudes. Now the karmic person is understanding that what they're learning is that one phase of life is ending and another is beginning. If you think about the cocoon, right? The caterpillar goes into the cocoon and then they come out, or they come out the butterfly, or that's actually called the chrysalis. But the cocoon is a necessary growth process, and when it's time to come out, it's time to come out. And it's like the karmic person in this situation is starting to recognize that one phase is coming to an end and it's time to move into a different phase. It's like believing that there are new possibilities. You saw the energies before. There was a lot of struggle energy. There was a lot of difficulty, strife, conflict, lack, not having enough, constant financial struggles. That's the kind of stuff that happens when you're working out karmic stuff. It's like there's constant, one step forward, 2 steps back, and it's like the karmic person is finally starting to understand that like maybe life doesn't have to always be such a struggle. Maybe I can actually step out of this cycle and move into something where things are more abundant. So they're literally becoming like a butterfly coming out of their cocoon, ready to fly, ready to spread their wings and do some things differently. And so the lesson for their soul right now is to release what no longer attracts or serves. It's time to step away from things and situations that aren't bringing joy, vitality, because it's like you can't reach for something great as long as you're holding on to something. Like you don't have space in your hands to grab a fresh apple if you're holding on to a rotting one. And that's what they're learning right now. It's kind of that space of recognizing when a situation has reached its expiration date and it needs to move on, and they need to move on. And that's what their soul's lesson is right now, is learning how to have enough faith and trust to be able to release what no longer serves and to be able to move to what does. So I'm going to move this aside, and I want to look at the shadow side of this connection. I'm just going to pull one card from the Oracle of Shadows and Light and see what the shadow side, what is happening in the shadows. Oracle of Shadows and Light by Lucy Cavendish is the deck that I'm using right now. So the shadow. So we've got ancient wisdom. What this is saying to me is that there is this energy of that the ancient wisdom is karmic lessons. Okay? It's this understanding that that there is this ancient wisdom that it's needing to be learned here. There's some kind of lesson that has been playing out literally for, like, if you believe in past lives, for lifetimes. It's been playing out for a really, really, really long time. And it's time to understand that it's time for them to, they're blocking out. So this is the shadow side, that there's ancient wisdom that's trying to come through. There's ancient wisdom, like karmic lessons, like, it's almost like their higher selves are trying to say to their 3D selves, like, you've been here before. This is a karmic cycle that's been playing out before. There's ancient wisdom available to you to break through this. If you would just listen. Yeah, it's that energy that it feels like they are, because they don't trust the wisdom that they're getting, that it feels unfamiliar. If you've never, like, I don't know about, like, when I first started listening to my intuition, I was very intuitive as a child, and then I stopped trusting my intuition just based on, like, how I was raised in my environment. And then as I got older, it was like I started to understand, like, I'm just like I just know shit. Like, I don't know how I know it, I just know it. And once I started to really, but in the beginning when I was starting to learn, it was very scary. I didn't know how to trust myself. I didn't know how to, it felt like, what is this? Am I crazy? Like, and so it feels like right now the shadow side is that there is ancient wisdom that's trying to come through, and they're blocking it because it's unfamiliar. It feels scary. It's like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what to do here. And so that's what that energy is for the shadow side of this connection right now. So I'm going to move this aside, and I'm using this deck is The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty. And this is she wrote a bunch of books on codependence. And so I'm going to just pull a card on what is it that they need to let go right now. What is it that in this karmic situation needs to let go of right now? Waiting patiently. Today I will wait patiently if waiting is the action I need to take in order to take care of myself. I know that I'm taking positive, forceful action by waiting until the time is right. God, help me let go of my fear, urgency, and panic. Help me learn the art of waiting. So they need to let, what I'm getting from this is that, again, we see this like fear, urgency, and panic, that this connection has been operating from a space of that fear, the urgency, the panic. Like it isn't a situation that is based on the energy that they're bringing, both people, is fear. It's and that's based on some codependent energies around not trusting oneself, not feeling like one can be alone. And so they're really in this space of needing to learn, really needing to let go of that fear, the urgency, and stepping back into a place of faith. Because if they were to step out of the fear, oh my gosh, what is this going to mean for my future if I make this decision, that kind of frantic, panicked energy, then they'd be able to see things clearly. And so Spirit is saying, like, once people can let go of the fear and operate from a space of love, and really truly operating from a space of love, around really being that understanding of, if I'm not, contributing to this person's like soulfulness and freedom, and if I'm not truly offering like the gift of love, am I really serving them? Am I really serving this connection? But fear keeps people from recognizing honestly when it's time to move through and time to let go. So that's what they need to let go of, is the fear, and stepping into a space of really being able to step back out of the fear and to look at the situation from a more objective standpoint, out of the panic, out of the all of those energies. And once they're able to do that, they'll be much more capable of moving into a more healthy space with this connection, or moving out of the connection altogether. So moving that aside, I want to use final message, shamanic healing oracle cards, just how the divine is supporting. Like how is the divine supporting this right now? And I mean, by supporting it, I mean helping to move these energies through. Because, Spirit doesn't want us to be stuck in these toxic karmic situations forever. So Spirit, it will definitely come and help if we ask for it. So how is Spirit working in this connection right now? With the feminine energy and unlimited possibilities. Okay, so what I get from this is that for a lot of you that are watching are feminine, divine feminines. So I get like how Spirit is supporting this is literally by using that, helping you and your feminine energy to help this situation. It's like nurturing, caring, that divine feminine receptivity, the willingness to be open, vulnerability, that all of those energies. Like if you're staying in your divine feminine, because I'm not saying that I'm not saying if you've stepped out of that and been less than divine, that there's anything wrong with that, because we're human, we're still learning. But it feels like your feminine energy is really helping to move the situation, even if you're not in contact in the 3D, because they can still feel you. If you're a true twin flame connection, a true soul connection, you can feel there's that divine, telepathic kind of communication, that soul level communication, and your feminine nature is actually helping. What's also helping is that this message just came through, is that when you connected with your twin flame, with your divine counterpart, that it also catalyzed their divine feminine energy. And so that energy within is helping them to heal. The third message that just came through, wow, this is really, there's a lot of messages happening right now, is the Divine Mother is helping. The Divine Mother is intervening and supporting right now. So whatever that means to you. That message came through. I don't really use that term, but it resonates. It feels like it's important to say right now that there are like the feminine energies of like the ascended masters, the like Mary Magdalene's, that kind of energy is literally working behind the scenes and like doing like healing. I can like, it's like I see this like moving piece, like adjust behind the scenes, like moving pieces and doing things, and like it's just very powerful divine feminine energy that is actually working in the spirit realm to heal people in this connection, all parties involved, to shift the energy. And then we have unlimited possibilities. So I feel what Spirit is saying is that Spirit is helping this connection by trying to show both parties involved that there are unlimited possibilities, that they don't have to stay in this situation that isn't serving anymore, that hasn't served for a while, because there are unlimited possibilities. It's like their minds are starting to open up to the fact that they could actually have really amazing, like that it is possible to have it all. They didn't think it was before. They didn't think that it was possible to have a life that you loved with that you could do all of these things. You could travel or see the world, make an impact, be with a partner who you absolutely love and adore. They didn't see that as a possibility before. And now it's like Spirit is just like dropping these like, this information and like really pointing out to them like, that it is possible. It is possible. It is possible. It feels like Spirit is just keep saying it is possible. It is possible. And like they keep, Spirit keeps like intervening and showing them it's possible. And so that's going to be part of what's going to help them shift out of this connection. If you are fearful that this is the best I'm ever going to get, then you'll never move, right? You'll stay stuck in situations that don't serve. But if you start to believe that there is possibility for more, then you're more willing to take chances and to get out of situations that don't serve. So overall, that is the energy of this situation. It feels like there's a lot of shifts happening. Shift happens, right? It's like there is definitely a lot of behind the scenes. It's like this conflict. I feel like this conflicting battle energy has just taken its toll, and people are just kind of tired of the battle and ready to move into something different, like something that doesn't feel so contentious all the time. So I hope that this reading helped. Please let me know if you have any questions. And again, if you'd like to book a private reading, all of the information on how to do that is located in the description box. So have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.